actions is empty. And that's what the Bible says. That faith without works is no faith.
Despite the unimaginable horrors of Hocali and the continued occupation, and the hundreds of thousands of people displaced by the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, Azerbaijan has maintained its century-old tradition of interfaith tolerance and harmony.
It's amazing, really, and I'm very impressed with their leadership, with the thoughtfulness of their approaches on many things. They have not that I'm an expert on foreign policy or anything, but I know how to get along with people, and I think they're doing a magnificent job. They really are the prototype for what could be certainly a solution in the Middle East. If nations would adopt some of the things that they've adopted, the world would be a better place, no question.
You look at the globe, and look at the countries that are predominantly Muslim countries and its leadership, you got to ask yourself one important question: how are the minorities treated? Are they safe? The minorities of any country is the consciousness of the nation. So my feeling of Azerbaijan is that here's a country that comes from its rocky history, the bigger Russia and communism and all that history, but at the same time, it has to try to forget its past, its pain of yesterday, and try to reconcile and move forward, and at the same time give every citizen in their country dignity.
I have been in many countries. I would recommend to all nations to learn the model of multiculturalism and tolerance from Azerbaijan that has existed here for centuries.
Многонациональность – это богатство Азербайджана.
The multiculturalism is a wealth of Azerbaijan. Neither oil, nor agriculture, nor other economic issues can raise Azerbaijan, if not its multiculturalism.
Смешение культур, смешение крови.
The mixture of culture, blood, and religion shows the enormous potential Azerbaijan has for development.
Нескончаемый ресурс для развития.
It says a lot about a society and a government that allows people to basically, members of minority religious faiths, to function. And when you talk about here a society that's 95% plus Muslim majority, and I have since visited with Christian leaders and in churches and spent some time in different Jewish settings, it just seems quite natural for everyone.
The war of over 20 years ago didn't end in peace. There's just a stalemate, and the international community has not been able to solve this terrible problem. Much land that belonged to Azerbaijan is now occupied by Armenia, and nobody seems to want to get involved. Well, that's really too bad, because it's an injustice which is on the radar.
Знаете как? Это миф, который развеется у любого.
You know, it is a myth that Azerbaijanis are enemies of Armenians. Most of the Armenians have good relations with Azerbaijanis outside Armenia.
То есть в лучших жанрах, скажем так.
Because we had no real reason to quarrel with each other. The real story is being hidden in Armenia.
То, что в Карабахе вдруг на пустом.
What is being told is that this conflict is about liberation of Nagorno-Karabakh.
И армяне со всего мира бросились спасать, и это освобожденные территории. Вообще это имя не называть.
The Armenian government does its best not even to mention the name Hocali. It is a big stain on the conscience of the Armenian people.
на совести армянского народа. А азербайджанскому народу и армянскому
Both Azerbaijani and Armenian people need the perpetrators of this tragedy to be prosecuted in the Hague Tribunal.
можно еще
You can hit a man or hurt him and say sorry. That's normal, and you may be forgiven.
простят.
But you cannot do something like that, Hocali massacre, and then be
Такое не
forgiven.
извиняется, за такое
It is unforgivable. For this kind of crime, one must be prosecuted.
решение этого конфликта,
I cannot say in one word how to resolve this conflict.
а решение
We, as simple people of Armenia and Azerbaijan,
мы должны понять
who have the real power to solve this conflict, must understand each other. Only us, not the politicians or any peacekeeping missions. Today, if Armenians will stand up
какие-то миссии. Народ, вот если сегодня большая
and
часть
state
армян
that we
станет
don't want Nagorno-Karabakh
Карабах, нам нужен мир с Азербайджаном,
and we want peace with
и
Azerbaijan,
азербайджанцы скажут то же самое.
and the same thing is done in Azerbaijan, then everything
Я
can
понимаю, что это
change.
не будет в один день, это не будет в один месяц.
Right now, nobody can bring me my child, nobody. My child is lost. My younger age was just gone lost. So nobody is gonna, no, it's impossible to recompensate materially or spiritually what we have lived through in the past.